Good morning, everybody. So, as you can see, we are doing an on demand lesson today. So, what that means is that you will be watching this video, you will be answering the questions on Canvas, which are going to be embedded in the video. So, today, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be continuing the reading. It's been a couple of weeks since we've read Act 1. So we are going to be continue reading today after we have done our brief rights. We did the Act 1 summary last class meeting. So we're going to continue on with reading. So we are going to be reading today Act 2, Scene 1. So what we are going to do is I am going to be playing the audio and I'm going to be pausing the audio to give you some feedback and kind of make sure that you're understanding what's happening in the play. So I want to make sure that, as we're reading it, we are understanding it as well and not just, like having these like glazed over looks as we are like hearing it. And just make sure that you're hopefully like appreciating it and getting a clear idea of what's going on. So like I said, if you are struggling, let me know via remind, but just make sure that you're answering all the questions throughout the assignment and make sure that, I want to make sure you don't miss anything, so make sure that you play all the way from beginning to end. And like I said, here we go. All right, so here we go. We are going to be starting with Act 2 now, and we're only going to be reading Scene 1 today. And it takes place in Brutus's orchard, which would be like his yard. But remember that this was back in Roman time, so a lot of people, especially the wealthy, would probably have like some sort of farm for them to basically like, have their food from. So anyways, here we go.
What? Lucius Hope? I cannot by the progress of the stars give guess how near today. Lucius, I say! I would it were my fault to sleep so soundly. When? Lucius! When? Awake, I say! What, Lucius?
Okay, so if you're confused about who Lucius is his servant. So it's a young boy who's a servant, and Brutus is saying that he cannot guess by the progress of the stars, guess how near today it is. So he can't basically, by where the stars are, he can't tell like how late at night it is. So we know that it's, probably around midnight or super late at night. Might be like 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, but he's not exactly sure. So he's waking up Lucius right now.
Called you, my lord? Get me a taper in my study, Lucius. When it is lighted, come and call me here. I will, my lord.
A taper is a candle, just FYI.
It must be by his death. And for my part, I know no personal cause to spurn at him, but for the general. He would be crowned.
Okay, so when who he's talking about right now would be Caesar. So he's saying that it basically he has to die, and he has no personal reason to attack him, but because he would be crowned, he feels he has to do this.
How that might change his nature, there's the question. It is the bright day that brings forth the adder, and that craves wary walking. Crown him. That. And then I grant we put a sting in him that at his will he may do danger with. The abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. And to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affections swayed more than his reason. That is a common proof that lowliness is young ambition's ladder, whereto the climber upward turns his face. But when he once attains the utmost round, he then unto the ladder turns his back, looks in the clouds, scorning the base degrees by which he did ascend. So Caesar may.
Okay, so let's go ahead and analyze what he just said. So he says that the abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. So basically he's saying that like when people get too much greatness or too much power, the way they abuse their greatness is that they like remove remorse or feelings towards people from power. And then he says, though, to speak truth of Caesar, I have not known when his affections swayed more than his reason. So basically he's saying that, well, I've never known him to have, problems with like just his emotions or anything. So he's always been very logical. But at the same time, when people climb a ladder, they tend to focus on going up and don't look back from where they came. So he's more looking at where he's going and climbing ambition's ladder. So that's basically what he's saying at the moment.
Then, lest he may prevent. And since the quarrel will bear no colour for the thing he is, fashion it thus, that what he is augmented would run to these and these extremities. And therefore think him as a serpent's egg, which hatched would as his kind grow mischievous, and kill him in the shell.
Okay, so basically all he's saying is that, he hasn't done anything wrong, but this is more of a preventative issue. Rather than letting him get too powerful and like a serpent, like a snake, I'm just going to kill the snake egg before it becomes a snake that could threaten me or the people that I love. So that's basically where his mind's at. It's like, well, he's never done anything wrong, but I feel like I have to do this in order to make sure that nothing bad happens once he gets too much power. So I'm going to make sure that he never gets a chance to abuse his power. All right, now Lucius, his servant, is re-entering, and let's see what he has to say.
Taper burneth in your closet, sir. Searching the window for a flint, I found this paper thus sealed up, and I am sure it did not lie there when I went to bed.
Get you to bed again. It is not day. Is not tomorrow, boy, the Ides of March?
I know not, sir.
Look in the calendar and bring me word.
I will, sir.
The exhalations whizzing in the air give so much light that I may read by them.
Okay, a little bit of foreshadowing. Isn't tomorrow the Ides of March? Gee, what is supposed to happen on that day? Oh, and also one more thing before we continue. This is Brutus's found the letters that Cassius had forged and that had Cinna hide in different spots. So Lucius has found them, and so now Brutus is going to read these letters. Remember, these letters aren't real Romans. They are just Cassius writing in different handwriting.
Brutus, thou sleepst. Awake and see thyself. Shall Rome, etc., speak, strike, redress?
How can we tell that that's Cassius? Think about, again, when he said, you see yourself, awake and see thyself. What does that remind you of?
Brutus, thou sleepst, awake. Such instigations have been often dropped where I have took them up. Shall Rome, etc., thus must I piece it out. Shall Rome stand under one man's awe? What Rome? My ancestors did from the streets of Rome the Tarquin drive when he was called a king. Speak, strike, redress. Am I entreated to speak and strike? O Rome, I make thee promise. If the redress will follow, thou receivest thy full petition at the hand of Brutus.
Okay, so yeah, I think that we have established that he already kind of made his mind up as it was. But these letters are kind of like the final nail in the coffin, as it were, no pun intended. So again, these letters have worked in convincing him. So let's go ahead and continue. And we're going to be getting some, after he talks to Brutus, we'll get to see some of the other people arrive as well.
Sir, our march is wasted 15 days.
Tis good. Go to the gate. Somebody knocks. Since Cassius first did whet me against Caesar, I have not slept. Between the acting of a dreadful thing and the first motion, all the interim is like a phantasma or a hideous dream. The genius and the mortal instruments are then in council, and the state of man, like to a little kingdom, suffers then the nature of an insurrection.
Sir, 'tis your brother Cassius at the door, who doth desire to see you.
Is he alone?
No, sir, there are more with him.
Do you know them?
No, sir, their hats are plucked about their ears, and half their faces buried in their cloaks. that by no means I may discover them by any mark of favor.
Okay, so a couple of things. First, when he says, "'Tis your brother Cassius," he doesn't mean like literally brother. They're not like siblings or anything, just like your brother, your ally, your friend, Cassius. So he recognizes Cassius is there. And then there's other people with him, but Lucius can't recognize them because they have their faces buried in their cloaks. So again, they're trying to hide their identity. So kind of seems shady. Like if what they're doing is noble, why would they be hiding their faces, right? If what they're doing is right, why hide who they are? If the people of Rome agree with what they're doing, they shouldn't be hiding their actions. So just, seems a little shady, but let's continue what Brutus has to say.
Let him enter. They are the faction. Oh, conspiracy. Shamest thou to show thy dangerous brow by night, when evils are most free? Oh, then by day where wilt thou find a cavern dark enough to mask thy monstrous visage? Seek none conspiracy. Hide it in smiles and affability. For if thou hast thy native semblance on, not Erebus itself were dim enough to hide thee from prevention.
I think we are too bold upon your rest.
Good morrow, Brutus.
Do we trouble you?
I've been up this hour, awake all night. Know I these men that come along with you?
Yes, every man of them, and no man here but honours you. And every one doth wish you had but that opinion of yourself which every noble Roman bears of you. This is Trebonius.
He is welcome hither.
This Decius Brutus.
He is welcome too.
This Casca, this Cinna, and this Metellus Simper.
They are all welcome. What watchful cares to interpose themselves betwixt your eyes and night?
Shall I entreat a word?
Okay, so we have, it says in like the stage notes, but we have Cassius is there. We have Casca, Decius, Cinna, Metellus Cimber, and Trebonius. All of these people are members of the conspiracy against Caesar. So these are the people who will be responsible for his death.
Here lies the east. Doth not the day break here?
No.
Oh, pardon, sir, doth. And yon grey lines that fret the clouds are messengers of day.
You shall confess that you are both deceived. Here, as I point my sword, the sun arises, which is a great way growing on the south, weighing the youthful season of the year. Some 2 months hence, up higher toward the north he first presents his fire, and the high east stands as the capital, directly here.
Give me your hands all over, one by one.
And let us swear our resolution.
No, not an oath. If not the face of men, the sufferance of our souls, the time's abuse, if these be motives weak, break off betimes, and every man hence to his idle bed. So let high-sighted tyranny range on, till each man drop by lottery. But if these, as I'm sure they do, bear fire enough to kindle cowards, and to steal with valour the melting spirits of women, then, countrymen, what need we any spur but our own cause to prick us to redress? What other bond than secret Romans that have spoke the word and will not palter? And what other oath than honesty to honesty engaged, that this shall be, or we will fall for it? Swear priests and cowards and men cautelous, O feeble carrions and such suffering souls that welcome wrongs. And to bad causes swear such creatures as men doubt. But do not stain the even virtue of our enterprise, nor the insuppressive metal of our spirits, to think that or our cause or our performance did need an oath. When every drop of blood that every Roman bears, and nobly bears, is guilty of a several bastardy, if he do break the smallest particle of any promise that have passed from him.
Okay. All right. First of all, let's kind of go back a little bit. So Brutus is very offended by the use of the word oath, because he's saying that, again, kind of like I said about how they shouldn't be hiding their faces if what they're doing is noble. Brutus is kind of like of the same mind. If what they're doing is noble, they shouldn't have to like swear a secret oath to like do this and to like hide their secrets. Brutus is basically saying, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. We're not going to hide our intentions. Like, we're not going to like kill him and hide our identities. We are going to own this. This is going to be, if we are to do something noble, we are going to do it the right way. So he's basically saying cowards would make an oath. Cowards would hide their true intentions. So again, if you were to make the argument that Brutus is noble, which some people would argue that he is, other people would argue that he's not, this would be something that they would point to as saying that, like, this is a good example of Brutus being noble because he wants to make sure that, you know, none of the other people in the conspiracy are going to like hide their intentions or their identity after the fact, that this is going to be like a secret assassination. This is going to be very public. So, all right, let's continue and see what Cassius has to say.
But what of Cicero? Shall we sound him? I think he will stand very strong with us.
Let us not leave him out.
No, by no means.
Oh, let us have him. For his silver hairs will purchase us a good opinion, and buy men's voices to commend our deeds. It shall be said, his judgment ruled our hands. Our youths and wildness shall no whit appear, but all be buried in his gravity.
Oh, name him not. Let us not break with him, for he will never follow anything that other men begin.
Then leave him out.
Indeed, he is not fit.
Shall no man else be touched, but only Caesar?
Decius, well urged. I think it is not meet Mark Antony, so well beloved of Caesar, should outlive Caesar. We shall find of him a shrewd contriver, and you know his means, if he improve them, may well stretch so far as to annoy us all, which to prevent, let Antony and Caesar fall together.
So I hope you guys caught what's going on. So first of all, they're talking about like, okay, who else should join our conspiracy? What about Cicero? Should he join it? And I love their reasoning. It's like, oh, Metellus is saying, let's have him. He has silvery hair, so he has silver hair. He's an old dude. Let's, you know, we're all a bunch of young guys, so if we get an old guy, it'll make us seem like we're not just like acting on our youthful spirit, you know, that somebody like was wise and gave us good judgment. Brutus says, no, we're not going to do anything because he's not like a doer. He's a follower, basically. So he won't like do anything on his own accord. And then everybody immediately, okay, well, we'll agree with Brutus on this. Now, Decius asks an interesting question. Shall no man else be touched but only Caesar? And when he says touch, he doesn't mean like, you know, like on the shoulder. He means like killed. He's saying, so should Caesar be the only one killed? And Cassius is like, Decius, that's a good point. Antony is very well loved as Caesar, and if we're going to do him a favor, we should make sure that Antony does not outlive Caesar as well. If we leave him alive, he could annoy us, and it's not annoy us like your little brother or sister annoying you. They mean like annoy him like life and death. Like he might want to get revenge for the death of Caesar if they leave him alive. So let's see what Brutus's response is, which will probably have some consequence later. And when I say probably, I mean it absolutely will.
Our course will seem too bloody, Caius Cassius, to cut the head off and then hack the limbs, like wrath in death and envy afterwards. For Antony is but a limb of Caesar. Let us be sacrifices, but not butchers, Caius. We all stand up against the spirit of Caesar, and in the spirit of men there is no blood. Oh, that we then could come by Caesar's spirit and not dismember Caesar. But alas, Caesar must bleed for it. And gentle friends, let's kill him boldly, but not wrathfully. Let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods, not hew him as a carcass fit for hounds. And let our hearts, as subtle masters do, stir up their servants to an act of rage, and after seem to chide them. This shall make our purpose necessary, and not envious, which so appearing to the common eyes, we shall be called purgers, not murderers. And for Mark Antony, think not of him, for he can do no more than Caesar's arm when Caesar's head is off.
Okay, so going back again, Brutus is saying basically that let's not kill Antony because we don't want to be just viewed as murderers. Like he says in the next page, let's be viewed as purgers, not murderers. So we're purging Rome of all the of a man who's gone too hungry with power, basically. And so he's saying, they make the analogy that if we killed Caesar, if we cut off Caesar's head, his limbs can't hurt us anymore. So think of Antony as like an arm of Caesar. If we cut off Caesar's head, his arm won't be able to affect us anymore. So that's Brutus's prediction, that Antony will no longer be effective once Caesar is dead. Then he's even talking about how they're going to kill him. So he says, like, we need to make sure that we offer him as like a sacrifice to the gods. So we'll kill him, and we'll kill him like boldly in front of everybody, but we don't want to like hack at him. We don't want to make sure that we don't want to like just be viewed as like blood hungry individuals. We want to make sure that we are like, when we kill him, that we are respectfully doing it, and that we are like respecting his life and not just, showing hatred towards him essentially. So Cassius obviously is going to disagree, but Brutus has kind of taken over as like the head of the conspiracy.
Fear him, for in the engrafted love he bears to Caesar.
Cassius, good Cassius, do not think of him. If he loves Caesar, all that he can do is to himself take thought and die for Caesar. And that were much he should, for he's given to sports, to wildness, and much company.
There is no fear in him. Let him not die, for he will live and laugh at this hereafter.
Peace. Count the clock.
The clock hath stricken 3.
It is time to part.
But it is doubtful yet whether Caesar will come forth today or no. For he is superstitious grown of late, quite from the main opinion he held once of fantasy, of dreams and ceremonies. It may be these apparent prodigies, the unaccustomed terror of this night, and the persuasion of his augurers may hold him from the Capitol today.
Never fear that. If he be so resolved, I can o'ersway him. For he loves to hear that unicorns may be betrayed with trees, and bears with glasses, elephants with holes, lions with toils, and men with flatterers. But when I tell him he hates flatterers, he says he does, being then most flattered. Let me work, for I can give his humour the true bent, and I will bring him to the Capitol.
Nay, we will all of us be there to fetch him.
By the 8th hour, is that the uttermost?
Be that the uttermost, and fail not then.
Caius Ligarius doth bear Caesar hard, who rated him for speaking well of Pompey. I wonder none of you have thought of him.
Now, good Metellus, go along by him. He loves me well, and I have given him reasons. Send him but hither, and I'll fashion him.
The morning comes upon us. We'll leave you, Brutus. And friends, disperse yourselves, but all remember what you have said, and show yourselves true Romans.
Good gentlemen, look fresh and merrily. Let not our looks put on our purposes, but bear it as our Roman actors do, with untired spirits and formal constancy. And so, good morrow to you, everyone. Boy, Lucius, fast asleep. It is no matter. Enjoy the honey-heavy dew of slumber. Thou hast no figures nor no fantasies, which busy care draws in the brains of men. Therefore thou sleepst so sound.
Okay, so a couple of things. So again, they're all getting ready to leave. So they've decided that they will be killing Brutus, or not Brutus. They're going to kill Caesar that day. So Decius is going to be his job, as they're saying that basically he's comparing Caesar to all these different animals, that basically like he loves to hear flattery. Caesar loves being like praised. So he will flatter Caesar to convince him to go down to the Capitol, which is where they're going to be killing him. So that's going to be Decius's role in the assassination of Caesar. So Brutus tries calling for Lucius, and Lucius is fast asleep because, he's a young boy. It's 3 a.m. It kind of makes sense. Another funny thing, though, is that he talks about but bear it as our Roman actors do. So he's basically saying we're going to be meeting with Caesar. So again, act normal until it's time to kill him. So that part of it is, again, like I said, kind of contradictory to what he was saying before about if it's so noble, just kill him. Don't pretend, don't lure him to the Capitol to kill him, just kill him. But it's kind of funny because he's talking about actors, and remember that this is a play. So the fact that they're referencing the fact that they're in a play is almost breaking the fourth wall a little bit. But anyway, so Portia is Brutus's wife, so she's entering. So we're going to be meeting her for the first and really only time in the play, at least of any significance. So here we go.
Brutus, my lord.
Portia, what mean you? Wherefore rise you now? It is not for your health thus to commit your weak condition to the raw, cold morning.
Nor for yours, neither. You've ungently, Brutus, stole from my bed. And yesternight at supper you suddenly arose and walked about, musing and sighing with your arms across. And when I asked you what the matter was, you stared upon me with ungentle looks. I urged you further. Then you scratched your head and too impatiently stamped with your foot. Yet I insisted, yet you answered not, but with an angry wafture of your hand gave sign for me to leave you. So I did, fearing to strengthen that impatience which seemed too much enkindled, and withal hoping it was but an effect of humour, which sometime hath his hour with every man. It will not let you eat, nor talk, nor sleep. And could it work so much upon your shape as it hath much prevailed on your condition, I should not know you, Brutus. Dear my lord, make me acquainted with your cause of grief.
I am not well in health, and that is all.
Brutus.
Okay, sorry. I kind of paused it awkwardly. Okay, so Portia is basically saying, it's the middle of the night, dude. What are you doing up? You know, it's normal for sometimes for men or for people in general to like not feel well, to feel sick, and to want to wander away. But why are you, you know, if you are not feeling well, why are you up in the middle of the night? Because remember, no heaters, no air conditioners or anything. If you know, if it's cold, if you have a cold, why are you walking around in the cold, basically?
Brutus is wise, and were he not in health, he would embrace the means to come by it.
Why, so I do. Good, Portia, go to bed.
Is Brutus sick, and is it physical to walk unbraced and suck up the humours of the dank morning? What, is Brutus sick, and will he steal out of his wholesome bed to dare the vile contagion of the night, and tempt the roomy and unpurged air to add unto his sickness? No, my Brutus, you have some sick offence within your mind, which by the right and virtue of my place I ought to know of. And upon my knees I charm you by my once commended beauty, by all your vows of love and that great vow which did incorporate and make us one, that you unfold to me yourself your half. Why, you are heavy. And what men tonight have had resort to you? For here have been some 6 or 7 who did hide their faces even from darkness.
Kneel not, gentle Portia.
So again, Portia is calling him out, saying, listen, if you were sick, you wouldn't go out into the cold air to get more sick. That's just stupid. And I know something's up. I know something's bothering you. And who are those guys who wandered into her yard in the middle of the night? So basically, again, she kind of knows something's up. So that's where we're at with her.
I should not need if you were gentle Brutus. Within the bond of marriage, tell me, Brutus, is it accepted I should know no secrets that appertain to you? Am I yourself but, as it were, in sort or limitation, to keep with you at meals, comfort your bed, and talk to you sometimes? Dwell I but in the suburbs of your good pleasure? If it be no more, Portia is Brutus' harlot, not his wife.
You are my true and honourable wife, as dear to me as are the ruddy drops that visit my sad heart.
So again, kind of a funny comment Portia makes. So basically saying, if I am your wife, you would tell me what's going on. Otherwise, I'm your harlot, which I'll let you be creative and decide what harlot could substitute for instead of wife. So just kind of somebody who would not be married that might be more, you know, let's just say promiscuous and not being his wife. So yeah, just a little funny comment she made.
If this were true, then should I know this secret. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman that Lord Brutus took to wife. I grant I am a woman, but withal a woman well reputed, Cato's daughter. Think you I am no stronger than my sex, being so fathered and so husbanded? Tell me your counsels, I will not disclose them. I have made strong proof of my constancy, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. Can I bear that with patience, and not my husband's secrets?
Good old-fashioned sexism. So I know I'm just a woman, but I'm a strong woman. She said that, like, granted, I am a woman, like, and remember, it wasn't a woman who wrote this play, obviously, so might not have said that if it was written by a woman. So always good to think about who's writing these things. And then she does something kind of crazy. So it's not very emphasized, but she says, I have made strong proof of my constancy, which, like, basically I'm making strong proof of my devotion to you here in the thigh, giving myself a voluntary wound here in the thigh. So she, like, basically, like, stabs herself in the thigh. It's like, this is how much I love you and how much I'm devoted to you. And she stabs herself. So kind of, again, not all there, which, again, will make sense later with something else she does. So,
O ye gods, render me worthy of this noble wife. Hark, one knocks. Portia, go in a while, and by thy bosom shall partake the secrets of my heart. All my engagements I will construe to thee, all the charactery of my sad brows. Leave ye with haste. Lucius, who's that knocks?
Here is a sick man that would speak with you.
Caius Ligarius that Metellus spake of. Boy, stand aside. Caius Ligarius, how?
Vouchsafe good morrow from a feeble tongue.
Oh, what a time have you chose out, brave Caius, to wear a kerchief. Would you were not sick?
I am not sick. If Brutus have in hand any exploit worthy the name of honor.
Such an exploit have I in hand, Ligarius, had you a healthful ear to hear of it.
okay, so Ligarius is, Caius Ligarius is another person. They talked about him earlier, that they were saying, like, oh, I'll go get Caius Ligarius and Brutus will talk to him about joining our conspiracy. So again, here's another member of the conspiracy joining them.
By all the gods that Romans bow before, I here discard my sickness. Soul of Rome, brave son derived from honorable loins, thou, like an exorcist, hast conjured up my mortified spirit. Now bid me run, and I will strive with things impossible. Yea, get the better of them. What's to do?
A piece of work that will make sick men whole.
But are not some whole that we must make sick?
That must we also. What it is, my Caius, I shall unfold to thee, as we are going to whom it must be done.
Set on your foot, and with a heart new fired I follow you, to do I know not what, but it sufficeth that Brutus leads me on.
Follow me then.
Okay, so that's the end of Act 2, Scene 2. So again, Caius has been kind of ill, and he's basically saying, if you tell me what I want to hear about us taking out Caesar, I will feel much better despite my physical health. And Brutus says, yes, we are going to do that. And so Ligarius is saying, okay, all right, well, I am whole now, basically. So Brutus is saying that by killing Caesar, it's going to make sick people whole. And then Ligarius says, well, we have to make people who are healthy, like Caesar, sick, and Antony too, because Antony loves Caesar, and so does obviously Calpurnia, Caesar's wife. So they're going to have to make Caesar dead, and then other people upset with the fact that Caesar is dead. So they're literally on their way. They're making their way towards Caesar now. They're going to be walking. So he's saying, like, I'll tell you the plan as we walk towards the Capitol. So here we go. So the plan is in motion. They're getting ready to start going. So again, what you're going to be doing today is, after you are finished with watching this video and answering the couple of embedded questions that I had throughout here, there was only a few, but you're going to be doing Act 2, Scene 1, Dialectical Journal. So again, there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pages. But again, I will let you work with other people. So it's 15 pages. So if you work with about 5 people, you will be able to get this done pretty quick. So if you each do about 3 entries, it should go a lot faster. And then again, we'll have quotes kind of already prepared. So If you have any questions, just send me a message on Remind and I will be happy to help. But good luck and good job getting through this.